Hi, folks. Yesterday we talked with Machado, a bit of a flight instruction legend to say the least, about the current state of flight training. Today, however, we're going to look at the future a little bit and some of the issues that he thinks important as we go forward into 22 and beyond. How do we instruct for the future?
Again, you ask a great question, and something I've given a lot of thought to. I'm not so sure aviation, the actual flying of an airplane, is not more complex than it was before. Flying an airplane is flying an airplane. Airplanes fly pretty much the way they did, back in the early 1900s, but with a lot more certainty that they'll continue flying, of course, once you're aloft. So that really hasn't changed. What has changed is the two things: the comprehensive nature of aviation knowledge that a student has to become a private pilot, and the complexity of the aviation knowledge a student has to become a private pilot. So the question is, how do we prepare people to enter aviation and to stay in aviation? And that, again, a good question. First of all, we'll have an increase in student starts, I suspect, here in the next couple of years, for a number of different reasons. Number one, as you know, Delta Airlines no longer requires a college degree in order to become a pilot. And that's been a big stumbling block for a lot of people wanting to enter aviation. But, that will obviously inspire people that had no desire to go to college, but would love to fly. I think that's fine. I've never been a big believer in having to have a college education to fly an airplane. Now, I'm not saying college is bad or isn't good. College offers many wonderful things to an individual, especially when you get laid off from an airline. So it's nice to have a backup. College degree does help. It's insurance in the bank. But here's the deal. For people starting aviation and wanting to stay in aviation, probably the most important thing they can do is become an educated consumer. And by that, I mean to do the necessary research to find out who is the best instructor for you. As the old saying goes, it's a Chinese saying, always sounds better in the original Mandarin, and that is, it's better to look for a good instructor for 3 years than to spend even 3 minutes with a bad one. So in that sense, just going to a flight school and just picking an instructor off the rack and sticking them in the airplane and say, okay, teach me. That is not a very good way to do that. In fact, it's a terrible way. And so if I can give advice to anybody that's going to start flight training, my advice is this: do your research, find somebody that you think would be good for you based on your asking a lot of questions and asking everybody you can about the quality of the instructor. Look for the products they produce, in other words, other pilots, and talk to them. Again, you have to do your research. But sign up with a flight instructor to take 3 lessons only. Only do 3. Don't agree to do more than that. And during the first 3 lessons, what you're going to do is see how you and that instructor dance together. The issue there is, after 3 lessons, what you end up with is the opportunity to assess whether that instructor is good for you. And if he or she is not, now you can... Here's your exit strategy. You can leave without feeling guilty, or at least too guilty, and find yourself another instructor. You just say to the instructor, listen, we've tried 3 lessons. I appreciate it. And now I'm going to move on. That's all you have to say. Find somebody else, because you've only agreed to 3. It's a simple strategy. It just works so well, because a bad flight instructor will ruin aviation for you for the rest of your life.
At Diamond Aircraft, innovation is in our DNA. Whether you're taking to the skies for training or business travel, every aircraft in Diamond's lineup features innovative technology, an industry-leading safety record, superior performance and efficiency, and a comfortable flying experience. No other company has pioneered as many aviation firsts, achieved more milestones, or received the same amount of industry praise as Diamond. Discover why Diamond Aircraft is one of the most trusted manufacturers in aviation at diamondaircraft.com.
Pilot Communications USA is proud to introduce our latest headsets, the Carbon A1 Active Noise Reduction and the Carbon P1 Passive Headset. Carbon fiber makes our headsets 30% lighter than others, which significantly reduces pilot fatigue. Our BlueLink hand control unit allows you to connect 2 devices at the same time, and the record out capability can send audio to an onboard camera or digital recorder. Get the headset that's so light you may forget you're wearing one at pilot-usa.com.
What is the current state of your educational efforts? How do people get information on your offerings, and just what are you covering these days? Because last I checked, you got a book on just about everything.
Well, first of all, thank you, Jim. You've always been very kind to me and very supportive, and I cannot. And I've always been a big fan of yours and Aero-News and the things that you do in aviation. They've always impressed me. In fact, you've written the thickest book I've ever seen in my life, the most information-packed book. I think it was 1,100 pages. The Sport Pilot Resource Guide. It was what an
so
amazing
big that the
thing.
next one's digital. I am never unloading another semi truck full of 5,000 books again.
No,
Never happening.
no, I understand. It's one tree per book.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
what you have to do is obviously go digital in that instance. But I mean, that was the Gaza pyramid of books in my estimation. Always impressed the heck out of me. Here's the thing I think is interesting in aviation. I wrote books because people like books, and I still have books and still sell books. The Private Pilot Handbook, the Instrument Book, the How to Fly an Airplane Handbook, one of my more proud accomplishments for me, because it's a book on stick and rudder flying skills, exactly as I learned it from World War II pilots that taught me when I learned to fly. And the thing that was fascinating about this, looking at what people want to learn, how they want to learn, is that the culture has changed and people don't read as much as they used to read. They tend to read ebooks more than they do physical books, although we tend to be going back now to physical books because apparently some people do miss that holding that tome in their hands, and I get that. But then people like visual stimulus, and e-learning has become the more common, one of the most common methods of education now. The airlines use it. They'll sit you at a desk when you're transitioning from one airplane to another, put you in front of a computer, and you'll do your own transition training right there. And it has that kind of effect, to say nothing of being able to get college degrees now, of course, via home learning, via the internet. So that's wonderful. I think that's great. And there's a lot of benefit to that. Too much is no good for younger people, of course, but obviously for older people, that's a different story. The thing that I think is most important, though, is people like being engaged in learning. So what I do with my e-courses is I engage them. I have quite a few interactions in my e-courses, a lot of narration. I do everything myself: narration, writing, printing. The only thing I don't do is actually print the book because I can't fit a Heidelberg press in my garage. But if I could, I would. So with the e-courses, the books and what have you, it's just, I couldn't be having more fun, Jim. It's a great way to train people, and people seem to like it. So I'm very pleased with the way it's going.
And where can people get more information on your courses and books?
Oh, just go to rodmachado.com, rodmachado.com. Or if you want something simpler, becomeapilot.com. Both take you to the same place.
I can't thank you enough for what you do for aviation. I've been watching, as you know, we have a flight training program now in our video news series, and we've been watching the state of the industry. We have our concerns. There are other things that we're very excited about, but there are a couple of stalwarts out there, you, the Kings, and a number of other folks that are just bound and determined to push the boundaries, do things right, and have their hearts in the right place no matter what. They're real aviators too. And I sure appreciate everything you do in that regard.
Thank you, Jim. And it means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Alrighty, folks, we really enjoyed a few moments with Rod Machado. This is the end of 2 parts with Rod, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Airborne and Aero-News later next week. Thank you.